Let's visit the 90s all over again. Put on those hammer pants. This is Dope Nostalgia.
Welcome, friends, to the latest episode, 142 of Dope Nostalgia Podcast. And I'm your host, Naomi, as always. Our special guest today is Michael McGrouch, and he's here to talk about a very big hip-hop duo back in the 80s and 90s called Kid and Play. Kid and Play. The House Party movies were big, and they really cemented Kid and Play's place in pop culture at the time. So Michael and I are going to discuss the impact of Kid and Play on entertainment. Here's a little bit of background info straight from Kid and Play's website about them.
Wikipedia moment.
Kid and Play, an American hip-hop duo from New York City that was popular in the late 80s and early 1990s. The duo was composed of Christopher Reed, who played Kid, and Christopher Martin, who played Play. They met while performing in rival high school groups, the Turnout Brothers and the Super Lovers, and initially formed their duo under the name The Fresh Force Crew. In 1986, She's a Skeezer and Rock Me were recorded. By 1987, they had changed their name to Kid and Play. In 1992, Kid and Play recorded 3 albums together between 1988 and 1991. 2 Hype in 88, Kid and Play's Funhouse in 90, and Face the Nation in 91. All 3 albums focused upon positive lyrics backed by pop-friendly instrumental tracks. Among the group's most successful singles were 89's Rollin' with Kid and Play, which hit number 11 on the Billboard R&B singles chart, 1990's Funhouse, which hit number 1 on the Billboard rap singles chart, and Ain't Gonna Hurt Nobody, another number 1 rap hit. Kid and Play were also notable for their dance known as the Kid and Play Kick Step, first seen in their video Do This My Way, and described in the song Do the Kid and Play Kick Step from their first album, 2 Hype. Also affectionately known as the Funky Charleston, the Kid and Play Kick Step featured the New Jack Swing aerobic dance moves typical of the late 80s urban street dancing. Unlike the original 1920s Charleston, the Kid and Play Kick Step requires 2 participants instead of 1. This dance also was made quite popular in Kid and Play's feature film, House Party. Now, I got out House Party and I'd never seen it before, so I watched it just to get ready for this episode. I'd like to welcome our special guest this week. To remember all things Kid and Play, this is Michael.
This Dope Nostalgia podcast is about things that happened in the 90s and what these artists are also doing today. And so I want to like welcome Michael McGrouch to the show. I want to ask you, tell me about your website and tell me about your experience with music and what you're out there doing right now.
So I was a sick child, and I was dyslexic. So first sick, then dyslexic. And so I could never fit into a system. And music was kind of my savior. Like for so many people, is music the savior. And you kind of live vicariously through the other, like Kid and Play, for example. That's a perfect example, because the House Party movie, it was having fun. It wasn't about studying. I mean, it was in school, but it wasn't about studying or fitting into a system and doing your work. It was just how we can have fun. And that's what I like in the 80s and 90s so much, because it's all about how can we make just our experience here just fun, Yeah. And dancing and dance steps, Kid and Play were one of the first that really incorporated the dance steps, basically, with breakdance, start of breakdancing. And it always drew me back, because I couldn't fit into system. I couldn't I couldn't understand it, because with my dyslexia I couldn't understand it either. So I was always pushed back into art, in the arts, because in the art community it was about the project, it was about the song, it was about the poem, it was about the piece. Even you had a leader in your theater play, It was about the piece that we had of, the whole thing. In the group too, you had a lead singer, but from the Rolling Stones, very easy example. When they do their own stuff, Keith Richards or Mick Jagger or anybody, Charlie Watts did jazz, I think.
Yeah.
So where are they? We're in what any correlation there? And it is such a great example for humanity, because our power is in the inclusivity. And, we all fit together and everybody contributes with whatever they're good at. And it's not valued or with anything of, okay, no, Naomi, you gave me this much, so you have 40% and I have 30% and somebody else has 20%. It just doesn't work like that. Everybody contributes with their strengths, and the product is, and it's the perfect example is the Rolling Stones. The product. You can 100 times think Mick Jagger is the boss, and the second boss is Keith Richards. Alone, they're nobody. They're as good or bad as any other musician. It is the construct, and I think the construct with Kid and Play was the same thing. It was, they two were just good together. And you see almost like a copycat of Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince. They were very much similar, you all could almost, because I'm dyslexic, I couldn't hold them apart. I always Jazzy Jazz or Kid and Play. I wasn't saying, oh, this was Janet Jackson and this was Kid and Play. No. I always say just Jazzy Jeff, and they were like one person. The four people were actually one person, I think. That they were like, for some reason, even though there were two groups, but I think they unseenly they worked together. I think, on an unconscious level, because they were so similar. It's like Will Smith had a little afro with a little thing, but the Kid had it was a branding too. Kids, everybody knew Kids. Hair.
The hair.
I mean, that was a branding, and that was great. I mean, I think that was one of the first
things you notice is definitely the high fade hair.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's interesting that right off the bat you bring up the comparison with DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, because even Jeff has even said in an interview that the House Party movies were originally created for them, for DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, but they couldn't do it at the time, or something to that effect. What he had said was that New Line Cinema had actually sued them, DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, when they did Nightmare on My Street.
Yeah, I know that. I know. Yeah, I have no idea. These are just system stuff. It's not a creative. I think it's they sued them and they didn't want them to be a horror movie, and the image was New Line didn't want anything to do with it. But honestly, I'm less interested in those things. I'm more interested in the human factor. That, for example, I think, was it Jazzy Jeff? There was a fight that Will Smith came and he looked on the set. He went and looked if this guy, he was already a protector at that time, because of the Oscars, right? The incident. So Will Smith went already on the set, and Play was supposedly a player, with women, and he mistreated him and stuff. But it's just, it's funny in hindsight. You see more clearer, but I think these two groups were actually very involved energetically, even if they were separate groups, and they were giving for us when we were little. They were giving us a lifestyle, and I was still in Austria. I was born in Vienna. I was a DJ. I was producing fashion shows. So and I made mixtapes. That was the side income for me. I made a mixtapes.
Awesome.
So for me, that was that was it for me. I loved it. They had the vibe that I needed. They had the vibe that I'm not a fan, a crazy fan of them. And I'm not a fan of any of those groups, but I say the vibe that they gave us was awesome. Like the house party. I just watched it before this interview, and
I did. I watched it yesterday.
And there's no story. There's no story. But it was so fun to watch because they were dancing and how the people reacted to it. And these strong girls, right? That they weren't just like, oh, can we help you? They were strong, and it was all together. And but the storyline was zero. But I think also I watched the second and the third too, and didn't get better. A very funny incident. I couldn't remember that Martin Lawrence was in there. I totally forgot that. And this is also interesting when you look at hindsight, right? You know about Martin Lawrence, but you might have forgotten about Kid and Play. But Martin Lawrence was for me, I completely blocked that out, that he was in the movie.
This was my first time watching the movie, so I was actually didn't know who all the cast was going to be, and I was a pleasant surprise to see him in there.
Yeah. Now, I watched it when it came out. I was totally in it. I went to movies, and I don't even think they did subtitles on it. I don't even, in Europe, no, they just played it in English and half of the stuff but you didn't have to understand because it gave the vibe. It was that MTV, that let's have a good time, let's be crazy, let's be creative.
Yeah.
That's what I love. That was shit. MTV sparked the imagination of every artist. I mean, I was so inspired by all what I saw, and it doesn't matter. It was a good song or a bad song. So sometimes the song was really bad, but the video was awesome, and vice versa. So it's like you have a 2-for-1. So something is going to hit, either the video or the song, which was awesome, I think. I think that was really, really exciting to our times, when we experienced it.
Oh, yeah. Like, obviously, that was a big part of the 80s and 90s was the video age and how important it was to music at the time.
Super, super important culturally.
Just to touch back on the movie, there were things I noticed about the movie that were somewhat dated. Of course, there's things that were said that you couldn't say now, as with almost every movie you watch from that time era, right?
Yeah.
But on top of that as well, there were things that were still relevant today, like how the police treated them.
Yeah. I don't watch. I wasn't aware what they said wasn't allowed. What would you say it was? I wasn't even aware of it. I just experienced the movie. I didn't go into, we always look at through a certain lens at something, and it's really,
no, it's true.
I know it was not perfect, but
no, like lots of movies though back then. You watch them now and you'll see these things. And those things that wouldn't fly today.
It's funny, and we didn't perceive it as bad. That's the weird stuff. So when I look at old movie that I see now, this you can't. Wow, if you say that now, I wasn't aware of that. Yeah. I wasn't. It didn't like make me good either. I mean, if they were racial slurs or anything, it didn't make me feel good. Then it was just how people are. But it wasn't. But today I see that. So today I definitely see when people have changed.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But like I said, it happens in almost every movie you watch from those eras or anything.
I'm glad you saw it. I'm glad you saw that movie because there was a song on it. We can play anything on Yuga, right?
Yeah.
We can. Can we? Just the beginning of something? I tell you one of my favorite beginning. Of my favorite beginning of a song. This is what's it called? It's called Energy by Kid and Play.
Okay.
And
You want me to share? You want me to share the audio?
Yeah, but people can. It's just a beginning. It's not even. I'm stopping it right away. I'm just giving you, and then we can talk about why I like this so much.
Sure.
You picked the fine time to leave me, Lucille. Oh, so crossing up you, pick the fine time to leave me, Lucille. Okay, let's go.
So I love that because I was a DJ.
Yeah.
And the people, like, it's like an engagement point. It's like attention. It's like, what the hell? You know, you DJ in a disco, and I played that song. That was one of my favorite songs because I screwed everybody around. People said, what the hell are you playing? And then the people went in, you know?
That's so cool.
Yeah. So I see that also is Fresh Prince did that too. I think with Public Enemy, you know, obviously Fight the Power. That was first a speech, and then it went into. So I liked, for example, and I talked on another podcast because they were so interesting how it was to be a DJ at that time, and I told them about, you know, carrying the ski boots bag full of records, and it's so heavy. Today they come with a MacBook, plug it in, and go. And when I was the DJ, I think a year and a half ago, and everybody brought me the iPhone. It's the funniest thing. Oh, can you? It's not like, do you have Barry White? No. Here's the iPhone. It's all queued up. Just plug it in.
Ooh, yeah.
Wow. You know, I was blown away. And so I like to. What I told the other people, you know, about DJing, I said, you know, when there was a hip hop podcast, and I said, what the interesting thing was in the hip hop era when Sugar Hill came out, there was just before was, you know, Stevie Wonder, OJ's, Temptations, and boom, there comes Sugar Hill Gang, and then Grandmaster Flash, and then Kid and Play and everybody else. But there were, even in Kid and Play's time, there were not a lot of rap albums. There were not a lot of hip hop albums, but people wanted them.
Yeah.
So you play them over and over, and you put stuff in it. For me, it wasn't such a problem because I mixed Sinatra with the Clash, Sex Pistols. I mean, I did every Bob Marley, you know, reggae. I mixed everything, and that's why my mixtapes was good, because the worst in art is the sameness. So contrast in art, you know, when you see my painting, there's a strong contrast in everything. So that's attention, that's energy. You know, it's a lot of energy. And as a DJ, you have to have energy. You know, you can't just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's what makes or breaks you as a DJ, doesn't it?
Yes. Absolutely. So you're surprised. The people want to be surprised. It's the freshness. It's the freshness, the newness. That and even you see it with when they what do you call it? I mean, do a recover of something, a cover version of something. Always the change, or they re-release a new version of that. You know, that works. That works well too, because people say, "Oh, it's the same. It reminds me of, but has a new trip to it." You know.
Your clothes all torn and your face is dirty. 18 years old, looking like you're 30.
Yo, listen. Kid, can we say, make a little love now? Make a little love now. The house party's at the fun house.
How about the parties at the fun house? All right, yeah. This party's at the fun house. I don't know about that. All right, y'all. Could you be quiet for a minute? All right, Wiz, turn it down, Dukes. Hey, could y'all please shut up? Wiz, chill. Yo, Play got something to say.
All right, y'all. Let's get this together, cause it ain't gonna last forever. You know what I'm saying? Yo, man, don't trash my place. Ayo, Herb, bass.
From miles around to come tumbling down. Kid and Play's
The perfect team.
now it's time to let off some steam.
Don't be bashful now.
Don't be shy.
This ain't no time for you to wonder why.
You're not on the floor with someone else.
Don't blame us, blame yourself.
If you ain't got the guts to get with it,
The time is now, dude.
just admit this is the perfect situation to take a chance in. Cause this is the house that we dance in.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Dope Nostalgia listeners, I love you and I thank you so much for being a part of this show and its success over the last 2 years. We have what's called Patreon for those who want to support the show financially. For as little as $1 a month, you can become a subscriber and get bonus content, early podcast release, all kinds of cool behind-the-scenes stuff, and more. There's different tiers of membership starting at only $1 a month. And we even have some special merch for you guys who are in it for the long run. So please, join our Patreon. It's at www.patreon.com/dope nostalgia.
It's cool, man. Hey, listen, yeah, it's your boy Nitty Green.
It's your boy P.I.E.
And I'm D.
And we are the Vibe Sessions crew, y'all. Listen, do us a favor. Stop by every Sunday night, man, on Facebook at 7 p.m. Tell them what we doing.
We talking life, love, and music.
Of course.
I think D didn't quite know what we were doing on Vibe
I'm like,
Sessions.
what's he
But it's
talking
cool
about?
though. It's cool. Listen, man. Like and share our page at Vibe Sessions Official on Facebook, and also go over to Instagram, right? And let's build that page as well.
Let's build
Same
it.
thing at Vibe Sessions Official, man. We're here.
Yo, we here. We love y'all, man. Thank you
Love
for
you.
your support.
Thank you. All right.
Peace.
Hey, yo, kid, where's the party?
Check it out, I'm Kid, and I kid you not, I like the Sprite. I like the Sprite a lot.
My name is Bright, but I'm not playing. I like the Sprite. You know what I'm saying?
I like to kick it live.
to a sound that's hype.
I like to kick it too.
I like the Sprite in you.
I like the lime and taste.
I like a pretty face.
I like the lemon lime.
You say that all the time.
The lemon has the twist of unexpectedness.
Like this.
Who invited them?
I don't know, but I'm with it. I like the Sprite in you.
So you were mentioning the song Energy, but what are another couple favorite tracks that you have from Kid and Play that you like?
Let me see what I have. Kid and Play. It's called Kid and Play versus Kid versus Play. It's the battle from the movie House Party.
Oh, sweet.
And that was one of my. That was, you know, they sampled the group Pleasure. It's a Oregon, Portland, Oregon group.
Mm-hmm.
And Grover Washington liked them, and he got him a deal and whatever. He said jazz funk group.
Okay.
And it came out of the whole era of Parliament, Funkadelic. It came out of Ozone was before them, but very similar Ozone. There was a Motown, and Pleasure. I love. This is such a good, and you know. Janet Jackson used Pleasure, at least this song. Yeah, so it's the group is called Pleasure. The song is called Joyous. It's one of my all-time favorite songs because it has funk, good rhythm, horn sections, everything, and it's 7 minutes long, 7 or 8 minutes long. It's awesome. And in the battle, they do that in the battle, and then. Janet Jackson is using it. I think a couple other people are using it too. I might even think Jazzy Jeff used it. You always hear that sample and nobody knows what it is, but because it is my favorite song, I always pick it out. And I think, let me see my notes on Kid and Play that I had, because first, you know, I think it was not so much the music. I think it was the whole energy that these guys brought in.
Yeah.
They had Immature in there. In the second movie, there was Immature, that the kids, you know, those little kids, the hip hop kids. And then they were with the girls. salt and pepper, all these things were at the same time, you know, and they all knew each other. So I think it's an awesome and absolutely awesome band, but it was they reflected the whole thing. And I think Jazzy Jeff too, but I think because they had the movie, it gave that feeling of well-being. Let's have fun. The parents have money, you know, they have enough money. They go on a vacation, they leave the house, right? And we make a party. It's exactly what I did. It's exactly, I did my basement. I changed my basement into a discotheque. And I, you know, my parents were gone, boom, party, you know? And I think it was so good. Wasn't it good? Didn't you feel that it was such a good time? And we thought it was a weird time, but it really wasn't weird. It was actually a really wholesome time.
I was going to say, it seemed like a good time. At the same time, I noticed that there was really nobody was drinking. There was no alcohol or drugs. There was a scene where there was a couple guys who snuck some in and then got themselves into trouble. But their play was very adamant that no, you don't bring alcohol here. And I thought that was really interesting, especially when they appealed to so many young people.
Yeah, and I would never remember that. I mean, I'm not a drinker, but I would have not remembered that there was no alcohol. So if you would have asked me, you know, not now, obviously after I saw it, but if you asked me before I saw it last week, I would have said, oh, there was drinking going on in that party. I mean, I remember the party, but there was drinking going on, and then you project all the movies, coming of age movies, where they have, you know, beer bongs or whatever they had at that time, or you know, they had what did they have always in our time? What did
beer bongs, keg stands,
exactly, all that. But then you project that into that movie, and this was actually very wholesome.
Yeah,
and I think they were always that was a great stuff about it, you know. And then you saw in the second one, Bernie Mac, all these people. It's crazy, you know. TLC. I mean,
TLC's in the third one. Exactly.
Yeah, and then the kid play the Do This My Way in the video. Pauly Shore is in there. What is he doing there? I mean, how? So I was crazy. It would really interest me because Jazzy Jeff does phenomenal music still to this day. He did, I don't know if you heard it, he did a thing with Moonchild. Oh my God, it's awesome. So it's such a development. We're very curious where Kid and Play would have been today if they would still create brand new stuff. And I don't know if they do, you know.
I know that they do still perform live. I know that you can book them from their website. Their website's very focused on whether or not you'd like to book them for any kind of events. So they're doing stuff. It's just I don't know if anything new is coming out.
Yeah, Jazzy Jeff is you know very into music and is still very into producing and all that stuff. So it's like you know somebody that constantly puts new out things. Oh, and then you see Flavor Flav in that one Energy video. There's Flavor Flav is in that.
Oh, sweet, the hype man.
Yeah. I mean, I really think it was good that we did this episode because I think they were very influential without being superstars. I mean, they were superstars kind of, but it shows you how important every human is. Because you contribute and you have no idea what you contribute to this world. And later on, they see it. It's like artists, you know, they're not getting recognized. And when they die, all of a sudden, oh my God, the guy saw everything. He was the greatest, you know.
What kind of mark have they left? Exactly. One thing that was very popular and well known was their dance move, the kick step.
The kick, yeah. The front and then turning around and do it with the heels.
That's right. It was also called the Funky Charleston, but the kick step is very popular and they still can do it. Actually, I saw on Kid and Play's Instagram there, they did it at a show recently and they were like, ooh, we need the icy hot. It's a little bit painful for them now, but they can still do it.
I think I saw it I saw a clip on a show where they did it with the host, Harvey. They did it with Harvey. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's somewhere out there. So you can look for that. Steve Harvey.
It looks complicated.
Yeah, I know. I mean, at least in front of a camera would be super, because you know, if nobody sees it, it's fine. But he did it well. It was awesome.
Yeah. There was actually right before when the pandemic started, there was a video that came out, a music video made by New Kids on the Block and Boys to Men and a bunch of people, and Kid and Play are in it. The song is called House Party, and Donnie Wahlberg and his wife Jenny McCarthy actually do the kick step in the video, and then Kid and Play are on Zoom watching them do it, and they're in the video, and it's great. It's really a cute throwback acknowledgement to what the Kid and Play had done. So I think that was pretty sweet.
Yeah. And it's fun that they were both called Christopher, you know, both kids, you know. Christopher Kid Reid and then Christopher Play Martin. That was I wasn't aware of that, because you know, you're not aware of that stuff.
Well, in the movie, the kid is called Chris, but Play is called Pete.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's awesome.
And I think it's funny too, because another rap duo, Criss Cross, those guys were both named Chris as well.
Yeah, it's so, but I tell you, it takes two. It takes two to tango. You're strong. It's very rare that you as a one can establish yourself. And sometimes when you're strong in a group, you can become a solo act. But it's like I say with the Rolling Stones, it's not for sure, you know.
Yeah. Sometimes it takes two or three or four.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
To create that formula, that chemistry.
So what did you choose Kid and Play? You felt the same way, or you just wanted to? You
know, it's actually interesting because I didn't know that much about them.
I don't either. There's not much to know.
Yeah. I mean, I hadn't even really listened to any of their songs. So it was just kind of interesting to see what they were all about and watch the movies, because I just hadn't watched a lot of movies back at that time in my life yet.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was good to catch up and learn about them. And yeah, I could see, I find them appealing. I think they're great and they're wholesome and they're good for kids. And they even had an NBC cartoon, Saturday morning cartoon.
Oh,
for one season.
Yeah.
For one season. And that's cool. And it was like basically them playing themselves when they were young, like kids. Yeah. But back then, there was a lot of cartoons on Saturday mornings that were about musical characters. I think ABC was playing MC Hammer's Hammerman at the same time that NBC was playing Kid and Play.
Oh, I love it.
Isn't that funny?
MC Hammer is another type. Yeah, he's another icon. You know, because like a form, like Kid's hairdo, Kid Hammer's persona, you know, that energy. And there's nothing special. Kid and Play's more. Kid it's stronger because nobody had hair like this. But Hammer, he just had that jumpsuit, right?
Hammer had a lot of things going on that set him as an image.
Yeah,
that you would know right away it's Hammer. Like the jumpsuit, like the pants, the parachute pants, all those things combined.
Yeah. But Kid had them. Kid had the fluffy shoes. They didn't have a suit, but they had the fluffy pants.
I did like their fashion in the movie. I liked what the clothes they were wearing. The suit that Play was wearing, I thought was pretty cool, and I'd love to see someone wear a suit like that today.
Yeah.
Here to tear it up, so come on, here we go.
Stay calm, don't get along. Gonna relax your ladies with a deadly charm.
Wanna go to work on your fellas too. Make you wanna do the things we do. Cause when a Kid and Play is in your town, you gotta keep rocking all day, all night. Cause we're different to life.
Dynamite over mic, so shake it.
Your butt shake it down. We got the best music all around.
with Kid and Play. Now everybody sing.
See, it's amazing, and the I think it was perfect. I just, that movie was for itself perfect. It had no story. It was just fun, and it was just how people can have fun and have a good time in an adolescent time. That is so. I think that's so important, because in the adolescent time, you don't know where to belong. You know, should you be with the tough guys, with the soft guys? Where's your place? And I experienced that in the disco, you know, life was hard, but then we all came into disco, and then it was happy that everybody met in the disco, you know, the sports guys, the jocks, everything. It's like a museum. When you go today in a museum, you see the rich, poor, Democrat, Republican, every sexuality, every gender, and they just hang out. They just talk to each other. And the funny thing is, they don't even look at the art. They just mingle. And this movie was like mingling. It was just, hey, we get all together, and that must be enough. Then that doesn't need to be drugs or crazy stuff, you know, or crazy games with people. That just be, you know, we just get together. I really like it.
I'm always a fan of people just getting together regardless of their
exactly.
regardless. Yeah. No, that's very cool. And I'm glad that they brought so many people together. Looking at the things that they've been doing in the last like 15, 20 years. I know that, so Kid obviously still kept doing some acting roles here and there, lots of guest roles on different shows like Full House, Sister Sister, etc. And then Play actually became a born-again Christian and has devoted a lot of time to working with hip-hop music projects, Christian music projects. So they've gotten together over the years to do some commercials, like a Super Bowl commercial called The 80s Called from Radio Shack. So they still keep their legacy alive by making all these like little appearances here and there, which is great.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, and you know that commercial was just because this iconic haircut. I mean, what was that iconic? I mean, and Play, you know, I know where Play also went to Christianity because supposedly he was out of control with the woman. So he got it. He got his thing, and then that's where Will Smith came to the set and say, "Show me what's going on there." You know, he was already protecting the actress. That's what I mentioned before. That's what I mentioned before, where Will was already a protector, and he was looking out for that woman that Play was acting with. And he came on the set and almost had a fallout or something.
Oh, I see. Okay, I wasn't aware of that. Yeah, but I'm glad that you know, he got himself together and everything. Yeah. Before we wrap things up, what would you like to close on to let people know about what they should, when they look into Kid and Play, maybe what their best things were that you enjoyed the most?
I think definitely look at House Party. I think that kind of defines what you and I talked the whole episode now. It defines the feel-good feeling. It has it doesn't have energy in it, but it has one of their best songs in it, and it has that rap battle with From Pleasure in it. And see, it's funny. It's almost that hairdo takes everything away from Play. I see only Kid in this group. Jazzy Jeff was more balanced because Jazzy Jeff was the strong person there. Will wasn't the strong person. Will became the strong person, but it was more balanced. I didn't look at either Jazzy Jeff so much or Fresh Prince, but I look at Kid and Play it's funny how my perception, I'm looking at Kid and Play is Kid for me. I know there was Play. I know that. I'm not denying his input or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But Play, the visual of Play was so iconic that it just sucked the juice out of Play, I think. Because when you tell me Kid and Play, what I see is the hairdo.
Yeah.
And it's amazing.
It's true.
It's amazing that
it's the first thing you might think of. Right?
Exactly. Yeah. And I think people should see it. I think this is why it's important that we have culture, because we need to see where we came from. It doesn't matter if it was racist or sexist or whatever. It doesn't matter that it was that, because that's where we came from. So we cannot be ashamed of what we were. We were unconscious. And now we are conscious. We are conscious of things. And I think humans should see it as this, not as, oh, the old world was horrible. It wasn't horrible. Like you said, they weren't doing drugs or whatever. And I think that's important to contemplate, that people, and when we clean out movies like Disney does about racism or whatever that, happened in cartoons and stuff, I don't think we do ourselves a favor. I don't think we need to know why we are politically correct. We need to know why we genderize people, or why we respect their sexuality or whatever. Because without that, then either we not put them in systems and say everybody's just a human, or we're generous, but then we can't whitewash the past. It's almost saying, hey, 15 people decided over 11 million people in the Second World War, and we just say the Holocaust never happened. So I think we need to know where we came from and where our human potential went. And I think Kid and Play does that very good for a segment of adolescence. When everybody remembers the adolescent times because they're very defining times. And I would look at it, just don't think about it, just look and experience that movie. I think that's the gift Kid and Play gave us,
The movie is something to experience for sure. I agree. But that being said too, it's important that we don't forget where we've made horrible mistakes. It's important that we don't forget the bad things, because we don't want to repeat them.
Exactly. You hit it on the head. Exactly. That's why
we don't want to repeat them. And that's where hopefully we're going in a better direction for our future, right?
Yes. Yes. Yes, Naomi.
Thank you so much, Michael. It's been a pleasure talking to you about Kid and Play today. And tell everybody where they can find you.
I have one website, one portal where you can find my social everything. It's called michaelm.com.
2 L's.
2 L's, Michael, 2 L's, m.com. And then you can contact me. I'm a speaker. I'm I'm a guest on podcasts. I'm a writer. And I have a podcast that's free. It's only 30 seconds, 20 to 30 seconds. And what it does is it shows art, and it's kind of, you got a little hint here how I look at art. I'm looking at art outside of the art sales. I'm looking at the art outside the system as a human superpower. And I want to empower artists, because 95 to 97% of artists are poor in the world. And what is the first thing that destroys in a war? Cultural goods. So I want to break that dissonance. I want to re-educate artists, so that basically I didn't come up with it. I just unveiled it and become conscious of it. And I just write those discoveries in my podcast or blog or whatever, and that people feel valuable. I mean, if Kid and Play hear that, they probably never heard a podcast like this. You know what I mean? So that's my contribution to humanity.
That's fantastic that you're doing that and trying to make a difference, make a change there. Thank you so much, Michael. It's really nice to meet you.
Thank you. Anytime.
Oh yeah. Feels good. enjoy myself. I've left my problems up on the shelf. The workday's over and I got it made. Like Johnny Kemp said, I just got paid and I'm ready to mingle. Young man, single and free, ready to get busy. Down to party, hardy, and have a good time. All I need is a partner in crime. Call up the homies and hope they might say they're down to paint the town red tonight. Look in the closet and pull out the hype gear. Hook up the high top fade and I'm out of here. To a disco or a party of some kind. Hope that I would find myself a good time. Before I'm through and the night is done, man, I'm gonna have fun. Ain't gonna hurt nobody. Just dancing, y'all. Ain't gonna hurt nobody. Out there on the floor. Ain't gonna hurt nobody. Just dancing, baby.
Hey kids, put down that Tamagotchi and listen for a second. You know, you can follow us on Twitter at NostalgiaDope, Instagram at dope_nostalgia. Visit our website at www.dopenostalgia.com or pick up the phone and call us at 780-851-8785.
This podcast is licensed by SOCAN because we believe that artists should be paid for their work.